the first one I put in here, and it's ironic because this story broke like maybe the day after we recorded, and a couple days before the big thing that we'll get to. But apparently, Vicarious Visions, the people that made Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the remaster came out in 2020. Beloved. I loved it, but it was beloved. Activision rejected their pitch for a Tony Hawk 3 and 4 and moved them on to just be a continued support studio for Call of Duty, which is a huge bummer. But now, give it a couple days, we'll get to it. But we kind of know the reasons why now,
right? Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a bummer. I wanted to see at least wanted them to see 3 and 4 be done.
I love 3 and 4. Like I love those two. Like, I love all 4 of those games, but I would have loved to see, especially like 4. I would have loved to see 4 be done, because 4 was when the game started to change, where you could just kind of skate around and then find stuff to do. And
4 was the first one. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that was the first one where you could actually get off the board and walk around.
Yeah,
right?
because you would load into a level and then you would go around and find stuff to do.
That's right.
You just had 2 minutes to do something.
Yeah,
and so there wasn't as much, quote unquote pressure in 4.
And then Underground was what kind of really took that
Thug is when it just changed everything.
Yeah,
that's why I have a lot of nostalgia for 3 and 4 too. Because 3, I went on my lunch break in high school to the Best Buy. I just zoom over there. It was like the day it came out. I race over there on my lunch break, run in, and I was like, and it was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
You got that on PS2, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
And they had
it was on PS1
on that those carts they used to push around that they would have the games on. They would restock.
Yes,
it was on one of those.
That's fantastic.
Grab it, ran out, bought it, and then that way I got home from school. Boom, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 day, baby. And then 4, I was working at Game Crazy when it came out. So we just, hey, get this. Tony Hawk comes out today. Let's go ahead and put that in the system all day. And we just played Tony Hawk 4 at work all day. Yeah,
Tony Hawk franchise is for me a beloved franchise, and I've played all of them, obviously. But I even was attached to those through the 360 era, even though some of those are lesser than. But American Wasteland, I thought was an amazing game. And I played that originally. It came out, I remember too, because it came out in August, the year that the 360 came out, and I played through and done everything in the Xbox version, and then I redid it on the 360.
And then you got the DS version, and you played that.
That was the Skateland, right? American
Skateland.
Not a bad game either. So
no, you know what's weird? Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. You want to talk about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3? I played a lot of that on Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, because they actually made a smart decision with how those games played on a handheld.
They made them isometric.
Yeah,
and it's for when you first start playing it, the depth perception on it is a little bit off, but eventually you remember how it works. I would play that at my first job, which was like a soccer store. So a lot of times I'd be sitting around doing nothing. So I would just bring my Game Boy, and I played Tony Hawk and Golden Sun at that job.
There you go, Golden Sun.
That was great.
But yeah, it's a bummer. I was hoping that with Microsoft getting Activision stuff, maybe they would greenlit some of this stuff.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have had to, honestly. Those are the only last 2 you needed to do. We didn't have to worry about doing Thug, you could have got away with doing Thug and Thug 2 because people would have loved it, but I don't think that would have been necessary. And then Skateland you wouldn't have had to do. Project 8 you for sure would not have had to do. And then everything after that is whatever.
What was the other one? Was Proving Ground?
Yeah, that was the other one.
There was Project 8, which was the 8th,
which was 8.
Game.
Right.
There was
Thug was 5 and 6. Proving Ground was 7. No, Skateland.
Proving Ground had Guitar Hero World Tour demo, I think.
Because Wasteland was 7 then, right?
And then after that was then they did the board games,
right?
Which
Ride,
failed.
Shred. Those are terrible.
And then obviously their last ditch effort before everything was shut down was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, which is terrible fucking video.
Remember they gave me that for free, thank God.
All for that stupid ground slam grind move, which just ruined that game.
That game was just It's
unfortunate.
Bad.
It is unfortunate. So, but I mean, at least we did get a great remake of 1 and 2. But I would have liked to see them at least do 3 and 4, or make like they proved that they could bring it back, make a new one.
Just make a game called Tony Hawk's
just call it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Yeah. Can't imagine he would be against it at this point.
Do you remember the IGN tagline for the Pro Skater 5 review? I still have it saved as a picture on my phone. It's pop, shove it in the garbage.
Oh, yeah.
I always laughed at that.
That's a good one.
Because
man, what a bummer that game was.
What a terrible game that was.
I remember I had it reserved at the store, and then
you and I were talking. We were excited.
We got like the day before, and I was like, I'm going to go rent it from the Redbox, because this was at the point now, Blockbuster, all the video stores were gone, but we still had Red Boxes that rented video games. If you were lucky enough to go rent the game and they actually had the disc.
And it wasn't a piece of paper. Yeah.
I remember because I had to drive to the town next to us to get a copy of it, but I remember going, renting it, playing back, no, it's terrible, and then canceling the reserve.
They gave me a digital copy for free, and that's the only reason I've played it.
The other thing that ruined that game, too, was every time you loaded it, you had to load into a stupid online
awful lobby in that first skate park where all the whole bunch of people are
and it would tank the frame rate because it wasn't made correctly for that. So bad, what a bad game. So